now that we here, right? We finally got it. We finally made it to the spot. Very exclusive. And this is a very exclusive establishment, the Underappreciated Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm here to explain to you my guest. I'm finally going to show you my guest. If you can see where I'm at right now, you might have an idea, but you have no idea. Survey says, bringing out my brother, my close friend, Jeff Hamilton, legendary jacket designer, product pusher, culture pusher. My brother, my twin.
My brother.
Yes, sir.
Great to be here with you.
So look, the whole world wants to know one thing. How are you able to push P this long? Pushing P as in product, premium leather, premium everything, your whole lifestyle.
It's just, it's very simple. It's just passion, you know, like I'm pushing passion.
Pushing passion.
That's
I
the
like
P,
that.
the P is for passion. So it's like, at this stage of the game, I've been doing it for so long that the motivation is part of my way of life. I just want to be out there. It's not even a hustle. It's just blessed to be able to have the universe or God allow me to do things that I love to do and just being part of the culture and try to create more and try to always be better and better as I can, if I can.
Well, people have no idea how part of the culture you are. We're gonna get to that, but you know, let's let the world know, for the viewers that are watching right now and the people that are listening, where you come from. Like, where's your background? Where do you come from?
I was born in Morocco, North Africa, and when I was 10 years old, I moved to France, and just went through my studies, did math and physics, and graduated. Married when I was 19 years old, and just had always the American dream, loved everything about America. And when I was 24, I moved to America. Just moved with a wife and 2 kids, and $6,000 at the time.
Wow.
And that was 1980, and just didn't know what I was going to do. I had no idea what I was going to do.
And look how it turns out. $6,000, you turn it into millions.
I just had no idea what I love fashion, but I didn't have any experience at all in fashion. Never designed a thing in my life. I thought I had good taste. I mean, I thought I had, I was doing a little art here and there for myself, never. And one thing led to the other. When I moved in, I was looking for a job, couldn't find it, and I basically started hustling, kind of, for lack of a better word, like meaning working hard. Not
hustle is
illegal
key.
stuff, but buying from a store, selling from a store. And
have you ever interned for anybody?
No, I never worked for anybody in my life. No.
Wow.
So
That's
what I
impressive.
did was, and I always try to stay true to that, not to work for anybody, just to keep always that identity that I had and the independence. So, so I started buying and selling from store to store, and I started making a living,
Right.
to support my family. Very humble living. And then I ran into some French people at the time, which we became very close friends at the time, and they just had started a new company. And that company was Guess Jeans.
Wow.
So they started the company, and
So you was doing denim before leather?
no, I was not doing that. No. So before so when I met those people, we started talking. They wanted me to work for them. And like I said, I never worked for anybody, and I knew the concept of licensing. So I asked them to give me the rights to do the menswear.
Right.
So I started the menswear in 1983, and without having any idea of designing anything, I didn't even know you needed to create a pattern to create a piece of clothing. So I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know anything about washes or fits or anything like that. And I learned on the go.
That's incredible.
Even management of business, I didn't know anything. Just learn on the go. And that's why I made so many great successes and so many errors in my life.
Yeah, but you've done it. You've done it for multiple eras before people were born, and in the Underappreciated podcast, I believe you're underappreciated because people try to put you in a box. They talk about sports and athletes and stuff like that, but they have no idea you've done rock and roll. You've done everything. Presidents, and we'll show them the president jacket in a little bit, but yeah.
So that's basically that's where when I got started, and I started getting really my love for fashion. That's really, when I moved to America, I really, in my thought, I was dreaming to be in a fashion business. I was dreaming to be in the jean business, and everybody said, "You're crazy. You're gonna sell jeans to Americans." I mean, it's like, how can you sell, like you're French and you can sell jeans to Americans? It's like, well, I have different ideas of doing certain things, and it was the right time and the right platform. And obviously, I mean, I started with, $22,000 in 1983 at the time when I started Guess. Within 2 years, I was doing $75 million a year.
Whew. You hear that, ladies and gentlemen? He's doing $75 million a year.
I'm talking about 1984, 1985.
Just imagine
it's
what
different money.
That's
what
billions.
It is today.
That's billions now. Like, I just had to talk to y'all direct about that because that's kind of crazy. Like, what would you do with that type of money? Like, what was you doing during that time with that type of money?
I was just listen. I was 26 years old, 25, 26 years old. I mean, I thought that was. I thought that was like some kind of God or something that I was able to make such a miracle, and I started buying my own BS as well, So I was going in and going to Rolls Royce, and I was one of the first ones to have the platinum card at the time, American Express, and I would just go in and put the platinum card on the desk and say, I want to buy that car. I have 10 minutes. If you don't tell me, I walk away. And then we'd buy cars. And then 2 days later, I was going to buy a Porsche the same way.
That's crazy.
But I was buying my own BS at the time. I was like an
But that's King
egomaniac.
Leo. That's what happens when you're a King Leo. King Leo.
Yeah. So I was a Leo, but like I'm a true Leo. I'm like 9+ Leo. So I'm like, I really was living the Leo life, which is, hopefully I still have an ego, but hopefully I'd like to think that I have it under control right now.
Right. Well, man, look, you look great, man. You're keeping it together. You've been here before I was born, well before I was born. You made millions well before I was born. You know what I'm saying? And I grew up in hip hop, you know what I mean, coming up with my uncle being one of the pioneers of hip hop. So it's only right that we start talking about the hip hop influence you had in the game, and we could start out with the Martin jacket, because this right here, this jacket right here, come on. Let's talk about Martin Lawrence, ladies and gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
Like Martin Lawrence, really. Martin Lawrence, ladies and gentlemen.
And it happened to be his the 30th anniversary of when they launched the show in 1992, like July 1992. So actually this month is the anniversary of 30 years. And so actually I'm working on, right now I'm designing 30 jackets for Martin that he's giving away to all the top celebrities. One of one custom jackets, which should be done by the end of the month.
So you heard it here first. You heard it here first. You know what I'm saying? You get the exclusive.
But before that, I did, LL Cool J. Like, I mean, I was looking at the other day by accident.
Piece of the Go LL.
And LL, like Mama Knocked You Out, I mean, and I found the picture and I realized, and I realized like one time I think it was 95 or 96, maybe 98, I don't know, something like that. And I was at the airport. We're coming from an NBA All-Star game, and we start talking, and we've always been friendly, but not buddies. But he said, you know how much we represent to the culture, and that's the first time that I heard the word culture at the time. And I said, I mean, I don't know what the F is he talking about. What I do, I make jackets. That's all it is,
Right.
Because it's part of us growing up and doing all that stuff with the jackets and
the 8-ball jackets and the whole
the
vibe being
NBA jacket.
outside.
The 8-ball was not me, it was somebody else. But
Yeah.
like mostly the NBA ones. And
But you had way
in
more
91.
impact.
I mean, in 91 was already like the Michael Jordan championship jackets,
Right.
and the Raiders jackets and the White Sox jackets and Ice Cube and Dre and NWA wearing my stuff and.
Sheesh.
And Biggie and Diddy and all those guys, like way back then, so they were wearing my stuff. And it's just like, for me, I mean, it's really today, it's kind of an accumulation fast forward to 2022, it's an accumulation. I never looked at it that I was building something and I was building some kind of a legacy,
Right.
Which is the biggest compliment that I ever get. It's just like, I kept on doing things I loved all the time and trying to up my game as much as I could. Every time trying to come up with the idea and always try to be in touch and never take, like I always say, take nothing for granted. And I appreciate every moment and every experience I ever had in my life.
Right. Well, when it comes to this hip hop and all of that, hip hop is, athletes want to be rappers. Rappers want to be athletes, you know what I'm saying? And there's nobody greater than a lot of the greats that we look at, but I just had to bring this out because this right here, is the logo, man. Jerry West, man. And he's still here living to this day. This is very rare right here.
I was at his house, like he's 85 years old, and I told him a story that when I grew up in Paris, I had a poster of him in my room. I had a poster of him, Will Chamberlain, and Lou Alcindor.
Wow.
Karim, before he changed his name to Karim. So I said, for me, I grew up like not knowing what the Lakers were, but I loved the Lakers because it was Los Angeles in my dream. I dreamt of Los Angeles. Never had seen a basketball game, a pro basketball game in my life on TV or, we didn't have YouTube, we didn't have Instagram, we didn't have anything like that. So,
y'all didn't even have cameras like that. You could just walk around and pop up.
And I grew up. I think the first time I had a black and white TV till I was 18 years old. So I don't, and it was only 2 channels in France. So it was not like that the whole thing that.
Oh, so you guys didn't get American TV? Like it wasn't.
I didn't know anything. I knew some of the shows like at the time, like Get Smart or Peyton Place or things like that. But I really didn't know anything about or Bonanza, things like that. But I really didn't know anything about American TV or the culture of
so
the
in
TV
reality,
culture.
you're just saying you're a creative genius. You was able to move these things out of your mind and just bring them to reality.
No, I'm not saying I was. No, I'm not. No, you're going to try to get me my ego to fall into it. No, I was not. But I loved it. I loved basketball, and because of that, I stopped. Because I loved America. Since I was a kid, I always loved anything in America. So I listened to all the music and the rock and roll, and I liked the culture. And I even, just my name was Jeff. My real name was not Jeff when I was born. My real name was Joseph. But I wanted people to think that I had an American. So I changed basically everybody started calling me Jeff when I was 15 years old. Because, at the time I wanted to, I would go meet the girls and say, I was telling them, I'm Jeff, my family is from, the only thing I knew how to say in English was Houston. I didn't speak a lick of English. Even when I moved to America, I speak very little English. But I love to say the word Houston. So I say, my family is from Houston, so I say, I'm from Houston. I would say like in French.
And they would just be like, oh,
like American, why American?
Houston, Texas,
so I would call all my family that lived here.
Yeah.
I used to get all those college T-shirts with all the logos. I love that stuff. All the American culture.
So you knew that, and eventually in the future that you was going to be one.
Yeah, I wanted
ones.
to live the American dream. For me was to come to America, and I'm just very happy I did.
Well, I'm happy that you did, because if not, we wouldn't have all this fashion that we need day to day, because it's very important to have this stuff. If you don't have this stuff.
So to go back to that jacket, that
was like cross
Jerry
colors.
West one.
Oh, Jerry.
The Jerry West, so actually luckily enough, I was commissioned to do the 75 greatest players jackets this year in 2022, but I also was commissioned to do the 1997 50 greatest players. So I was lucky to.
He did the 50 and the 75, by the way.
And I'm planning to do
how long you've been doing it.
And I'm planning to do the 100th anniversary. I'll be 91 by then, but I'll still
be there with him no matter what, even if he's. You know what I'm saying?
And I won't be. Don't worry about it. But so actually, I went to see Jerry West at his house, and it was so amazing just to be in his presence and being at his house and with a childhood hero of mine. So one of the things that I've always said, and I repeat myself, is as blessed as I am to do the things that I love and making a living doing it, is I still have that little bone inside of me that I still feel like a kid. When I meet any kind of celebrity, I'm still excited. I don't care if it's a 20-year-old rapper or an 85-year-old basketball player.
Right.
For me, I always had that excitement that is very special. And by me doing that, when I look at how many people I went through my life, I always had this special excitement, and that I'm still kind of like a little groupie when it comes down to simple things. Even like a couple of weeks ago, I was in Vegas for the summer leagues, and I was with some rookies, and I'm still excited about that. Just like
I was out there with them.
I want to get the pictures. I want to do the stuff. I want to memorialize those moments, because it's very special for me. Everybody
we got to meet up with the champ. Shout out to Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah, of course.
And
it's funny enough. Like a friend of mine didn't know that I have a relationship with him.
What did he tell you? What did he say?
They say, champ, I want you to meet my friend Jeff Hamilton. He said, what the fuck are you?
He said,
what have you thinking? I know him for 27 years.
I know him 27. He wasn't even born when I met this man. You know what I'm saying? He said, I've been wearing Jeff Hamilton's before you was born. I said, Dang,
No,
champ.
it's just, and it's not nothing but love. Like the idea is, we run a business. We always want to make money. This is like we in America. We're in a capitalist country. We want to make money,
Right.
and I think it's so beautiful just to be ambitious and be successful. But at this stage of my life, it is very important. But it's not only. It's one of the priorities, but there's a lot of other priorities. The other priorities are like knowing that I can go out and do something that I love. I wake up every morning. I'm blessed to be able to come and design. I come up with 20, 30 designs a day. Some of them, I don't even use them, but I keep on doing, and nonstop trying to become prolific 7 days a week. I mean, my phone rings at 2 o'clock in the morning, I answer it. I mean, I'm 24/7 on, and the third thing that I have, which I never realized once I came back and back into the business, is that, it's an element that's just so beautiful. It's very pretentious, but very humbling also.
Right.
It's the fact that I'm building a legacy. Like when I'm not around, maybe my jackets or my history will be around.
Yeah.
So those
You'll
things,
definitely be around.
it's just, it's amazing. It's because it's like you're building something without ever seeing the result of it.
Right.
So it's kind of like, actually I wrote some kind of quote, and I used it for one of the jackets that I did I created a new jacket homage to Virgil, and
Rest
I
in
didn't
peace,
put the name
Rest in
Virgil.
peace, Virgil.
I put a long sleeve V on the jacket, but I put legacy is planting seeds into a field without expectation to ever see the flowers fully bloom.
That's a
So-
beautiful quote, my brother.
So I put that on the jacket,
Beautiful.
and that's exactly how I feel. Like when you raise kids, you want to do the best. You want to do the best thing to them. You're not going to see them
But
being.
you get to see part of it. You actually got to see part of it when you see, like, since we were talking about Jerry West and the Lakers, we get to see a part of it. Like we could talk about Kobe Bryant and how you got to see him at the beginning of his career
Right.
to when he won his first championship.
As well as LeBron.
Rest in peace.
As
to
well as LeBron,
Kobe
as well
Bryant.
as Michael. I mean, I met Michael in 1986. It was after a year in the NBA. So it's not like, it was a
You
kid.
met him when he had the small gold chains on. You met him when he had the small gold chains on, and that's crazy. The earring? Yeah, that's legendary, Michael Jordan. Like,
Yeah,
can you
it's-
tell us? When we do on my show, I wanna be able to talk about things stories people that they never heard them before. You know what I'm saying? You've done many interviews over the years, and people getting a chance to talk to you. But when they talking with me, it's just different type of access. So let's talk about that time when you gave Kobe that jacket, his first championship. How was that, and where was he?
The first championship was in LA. When that was against the Pacers. So it was something kind of natural. I mean, Michael set up the tone. The knowing that he wanted the jacket after the championship, because it's kind of like instant gratification.
Right.
A ring, you win a championship, you have to wait for the ring 4 months before the beginning of the next season. The jacket, you put it on, you get that persona that you are the champion, and you right away get that. So I started like with Michael. I started with 91 actually. I started with the first championship, 91, 92, 93, and then went on 98. 96 is really when everything started taking off a little bit more.
This the first one?
That's the other. It's in the back. That's a 97. This one, I think.
97, yeah. So Mike
That's a
won that
97.
many.
When remember when you wore the patent
Yep.
shoes?
Mike won that many when he won the patent leather shoes.
And then was a 72 and 10. So that was it. But 98, that's where really basically everything just took off. And so Mike, when Kobe in 2000 won the championship, and I was right there waiting in the locker room with him, like right away he grabbed the jacket, put it on. He was the champion. Shaq wore the jacket, and I'm in all those videos with
How
the
was their
champagne
energy?
flying.
How was their energy? What was
I
the
mean,
conversation? What was the
There was no conversation. They
emotions?
were screaming. They were happy in the championship. Imagine like a 2000. He was, 21 years old. 20 years old. 21 years old. Like one of the first youngest guy to win a championship, and he was so excited and just like so amazing. even Shaq was the MVP of all the things during those years. I mean, but imagine Shaq at his prime and Kobe at his prime, and I have, all the pictures with them in the locker rooms,
Right.
and it was an amazing experience. And listen, being in LA and me sitting on the court for many years and being friends with Jerry Buss for all those years and winning the championship. I had seen Magic win 5 championships, since I was in America. But seeing Kobe and Shaq was such a amazing duo, and being in the court and knowing the players and being friends with Robert Horry and Phil Jackson, like being
How is Phil?